Hey there, hero. It's David H. Lawrence the 17th. A couple years ago, I took some time, took a couple years actually, to study something called NLP or Neuro Linguistic Programming. And when I first started looking at how NLP works, it's kind of a way of aligning what you're thinking with how you're feeling and what you're doing. That's the way I approach it. Understanding how other people and your interactions with those people can affect you, how emotions can affect actions, how getting on other people's maps and understanding their world can really lead to solutions and understanding and helping other people with getting unstuck with things. And a lot of what I've talked about in these videos come from my training in NLP. And there's a concept in NLP that I want to introduce to you that might be helpful to you as you look toward the future, or if you feel like you've reached a plateau, if you want to get unstuck from that plateau. And it's called the NLP outcome frame. And it's a way of asking questions about your situation, where you are now, where you want to be, and the meaning of that can really help clarify what you need to do to get to where you want to go, to get unstuck, to get to a higher level, etc. And the very first question of that outcome frame, and it's a frame because it's kind of like a series of questions that frame your situation, your challenge, your problem, your potential solution, and so on. And there's one question, the very first question that you ask, that sets you up for success throughout the course of this outcome frame. And when you get to the end of the outcome frame, if you're working with an NLP practitioner, you should have a much better idea of what you need to do, what could possibly be the outcome of taking those steps, and so on. So I just want to introduce this to you as sort of a layman's approach to it. It's a lot more complicated, can be a lot more complicated than I'm going to make it. But there are some things you can draw from it that you can just do without knowing anything else about NLP and really help clarify things for yourself. So the very first question in the NLP outcome frame is very simple, deceptively simple, and it's hard for some people to answer. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'll ask this question of somebody when I was doing my exercises, when I was learning NLP, and when I've helped people with NLP via NLP in the past. This very first question can be a showstopper. So the very first question is, what do you want? Now, you think to yourself, well, that's pretty easy. I want to be successful. I want more bookings. I want a deeper voice. I want better microphones. What do I want? Sure, I can do that. But when you really get to what do you want and you think about it, it's kind of like a genie asking you, what do you want if you only had one wish, right? Because you could say, I want a better mic. Well, that's a math problem. You go buy a better mic and you'll have a better mic. Or I want more bookings. That's something that you can want, but not really, you don't really have control over all of the things that go into that. So the question of what do you want becomes a lot more complicated than it might appear on first blush. So what do you want might be, I want a better relationship with my agent. It feels like when I call her or him, I'm interrupting his or her day. I don't know what to say to them. Or I don't even call them because I'm afraid that they're going to take that moment to remember that they were going to drop me. And they'll, oh, I'm so glad you called. Listen, we're so sorry. It's amazing what can happen when people are concerned about their relationships. What do you want? Maybe I want to be able to tell stories better. What do you want can be a lot of different things. But here's the big thing. If you can hone in on something specific and something actionable, meaning something very, very obvious and attainable, but also something that if you do something, you can help get what you want, right? There's lots of examples of things that are not attainable, I'd like to date a movie star. Well, that's not something you have much control over. I'd like to move to Los Angeles so that I can meet a movie star and date a movie star. Well, okay. The very first thing, I'd like to move to Los Angeles. That's something that you can do that's actionable. So we're going to look at the succeeding questions in the outcome frame. But for now, I want to give you some homework. And that homework is ask yourself, what do I want? Now, I usually say put it in the comments below, let me know, but I really want you to keep this to yourself. I really don't want you to be sharing what you want, specifically what you want, with the world. Now, you can talk about how it feels to ask yourself that question. You can talk about in the comments below. You can talk about what a challenge it was. You can talk about maybe how easy it was or how difficult it was to arrive at something that appears to be actionable. As an NLP practitioner, if somebody says something to me when I ask, what do you want? And it appears to me to be something that's not really within their control, I will say something that will help them find something that is within their control, within that path, right? So in the comments below, tell me what you think about. Is it easy for you to ask the question of yourself, what do you want? Can you give yourself the permission to really dream and to really reach out and take what you want? Say you were to get what you wanted. I'm getting a little ahead of myself because there are questions in the outcome frame that deal with that. And in an upcoming video, I'll talk about the second question in the outcome frame after what do you want? Or if you're asking it yourself, what do I want? That's really, really interesting, especially after you've made the statement about what you want. So let me know how all this feels. If it's a little too woo-woo for you, I understand. It was a little too woo-woo for me too. And there's a whole bunch about NLP that got to be very woo-woo for me. But I think this is really useful, especially in our business, because it's such a capricious business. It's such a haphazard business. It's such a business filled with things that we don't control. So, what do you want? I want you to take some time and really think about that and ask yourself that question. If you want to get on my mailing list, there's a box way down at the bottom if you're watching on voheroes.com that says get on the list. We'd love to have you. I'm David H. Lawrence the 17th. I thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.